Hi everyone, today we are going to be making a cute candy box featuring the Crafty Stamp Code January kit. And I am going to start with the body of the box. And I'm going to be using textured ivory. I love this paper. It is my absolute favorite. And I'm going to be cutting this at 9 by 5. So first I'm going to take it to the 9 and then cut it. And then cut it 5. So now I'm going to start with the scoring. I'm going to be scoring this at 2, and it's basically just every 2 inches, so scoring it at 2, at 4, and then since the scoring part on this cutter is a little small, I'm just going to move the other score lines back down to the 2, and then score at 4 again, but it's really scoring at 6. Move it down, and that's scoring it at 8 inches. So now I'm going to flip it and score on the bottom of the paper. We're going to make our little flappies for our box, and I'm going to be scoring that at 3/4. So now I'm going to put my paper cutter away and grab my scissors. And we will be cutting on just right on the score lines, right under the 3/4 mark. And I'm going to cut every score line, making little flappies. And now I'm going to fold these over. And I'm going to really flatten these down so it's easy to work with. And I'm doing this with every score line. And there we go. And we got our little box. So this little floppy part right here, I forgot I didn't actually need that, so we're just going to cut that little square off. There we go. And you can just throw that piece away. We do not need that. Now I'm just going to put all this stuff off to the side really fast. And we will be starting on making our lid for the box. And again, I'm just using textured ivory or textured white. Honestly, you can use whatever white you would like. This will be cut at 3 inches by 3 inches. 3 on that side, and 3 on this side. And this also needs to be scored, so I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch on each side. Before we flatten this out though, I'm going to cut the little squares out. And I'm just scoring right in the middle of the score line. Or cutting it right in the middle of the score line. And don't throw these little pieces away because we'll need these. We'll be putting them in the corner between the flaps so we can put our lid together. So remember to keep these. There we go. And I'm just going to set those off to the side. And now to flatten out the scored bits. And there we go. Our lid is coming together. And like I said earlier, we're going to be using those little squares to put the lid together in these little corners. So first I'm going to grab these, and this one has a little weird thing on it, so I'm going to pull that off. And I'm just going to start folding these in half. They don't have to be perfectly in the center, they just have to be big enough so they can hold each side of the flaps together. And to put them on there, I will be using 1/2 inch score tape. I like this better than like a tape gun because it's sturdier and it doesn't pop off all the time. So I'm just going to make a tiny one so it fits right on the square. And as I'm putting these on, I'm pushing them down pretty hard so they're nice and stuck on there. And this is our last one. And now it's time to put them on the lid. So I'm just going to peel the peely papers off. Maybe. There we go. And right where the fold is, I'm just putting it right to the edge of the flap. And then pushing that down nice. And then I'm just going to do that to every corner. Put the fold bit right to the corner. And then stick. And that one's kind of overlapping a little bit, so I'm going to just trim that so it's all nice and straight. There we go. And now for my other two. Just putting the fold right in the corner and sticking. I'm really going to push those down, make sure they're squished down there, and then trim any bits that are going over. And there's our lid. It is almost done. So now for the main box. these little flappy bits on the bottom here, I'm kind of going to fold them like a cardboard box where there's 2 flaps on the bottom and 2 flaps on the top. So I'll show you really fast what I'm going to be doing. There you can see 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. And there is a little hole, but we'll take care of that in a minute. So on these 2 flaps right here, I'm going to put tape. And again, I'm just using score tape because it's nice and sturdy. And then on this flap, this is going to be on the inside of the box to hold it all together. So I'm going to put this on the outside, right there. So opposite of the inside flaps. So it'll go just like this. So you don't see it. So I'm going to peel all the peely bits off now. And just toss those aside. Even this one. And like I said, just going to fold it over like a cardboard box. So we got our first one. And now for our second one. 2 on top and 2 on bottom. And before I stick the other bottom flap, I'm going to put the inside one in first, so it's all nice and straight. And push that down so it's nice and stiff down there. And then push that one down. So now to cover up this little hole, we're going to be cutting another piece of paper, just a little square. You can make it a different color if you want, but I'm going to be using textured white again. Let me grab my paper cutter. And I'll be using just a scrap of the textured white, and we'll be cutting that at 2 inches by 2 inches. And there's our little square, and we'll be putting it right on the bottom here. And again, some more score tape. I'm just going to be putting 2 pieces on either side. I'm going to really push that down in the middle so I know it's stuck. And then just stick your little square on there. There we go, the little hole is now gone. So nothing will fall out of there. So now I have red cardstock. This is real red from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they sell this anymore, but you can just use whatever red you like. I'll be cutting 4 of these, and they will be 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I cut it at 3 3/4 first, and now I'm doing 1 3/4. And again, I'm cutting 4 of these little guys. And there we go. And for our lid, we will also be kind of doing the same thing with the pattern paper. So I will also need a little piece of red for that, which is going to be 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Just teeny tiny little square. And there we go. It'll look kind of like that. So now for my pattern paper, I'm using Vintage Romance. And this we'll have also 4 of these, and these will be 1 1/2 by 3 1/2. And there's our first one, and I'm making sure the letters are going like how they are in a book. They're like straight up and down. Again, 1 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then just to make sure this one is the right size. Yep. So, and again, we'll need one for our little lid. And that'll be 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. And we'll only need one of those. So I cut 4 of these so you could have flat pattern papers on all 4 sides of your box, but I'm also going to show you how to make a little book flap so you can make a little note. And all we have to cut for this is the pattern paper and a white piece, but pattern paper is going to be 2 by 3 1/2. So first we're going to cut it at 2 and then at 3 1/2. And there we go. And we also need to score this, so I will be scoring it at 1/2. And just on that one side, I'm scoring it at 1/2. I'm going to fold that down so it's nice and flat. And I almost forgot to do the white piece so you can write your little note. Again, I'm just using the textured ivory or textured white. This is going to be 1/2 by 3 1/2, just like the other pattern paper ones we cut. And there we go, there's our little writing piece. So now I'm going to put all of my red and my pattern paper together, and I'm just going to be using a little tape gun. Going to stick the red on the box lid first. Going to try and make it as straight as possible. I'm really bad at making everything crooked all the time. And then going to put our little pattern paper piece on there. And there's our lid all done. So now to do the box pieces. And you can do all 4 sides flat if you like. Or you can just not use the flap that we cut and just use the white piece, and then the note is just out there, so it won't be covered up by the flap. But instead of putting these on the box first, I'm going to assemble them separately. So there's one. I'm going to tape my pattern paper first and then stick it on the red. There we go. And now I'm going to put this little piece aside, but you can make a flat one if you like, or put the white there for your note. But I'm going to put the flap on there because I think that's cute. So you will still need the red piece for this, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put it first. So I'm going to put tape right on the tiny foldy side, on the 1/2 side, I guess you would call it, not the tiny foldy side. Gonna put it on there straight. And there's our flappy. And now on the inside, I'm going to put the white piece. I'm just putting it right up against the score line. And there we go. I'm actually going to fold that down a little so it's nice and flat. And I guess if you want the bird straight up and down, you'd have to flip it over. And there we go. Now I'm going to put all these on the box. And I'm really going to stick them so they don't come off. And I actually need to put it down a little bit so the lid doesn't get stuck on the lid. So, there we go, just a little lower than what I have it. And then the same thing for these ones, going to put it down a little lower. And just so they're all the same, I'm going to line it up with the other one. Just lining it up. And that one's actually like really crooked, so I'm going to take it off. No, a little piece ripped off, so I'm just going to put it back. It's fine. It's not that crooked. I'm going to do my best to put this one on straight. And there we go. Our little pattern papers are all done. I'm going to put my candy in there. And then my lid. The lid will be a little snug, but that's so it doesn't fall off. And I want it to be where it goes over the flap a little bit, so they're like, ooh, what is this? They pop it off. Like, oh, a little note. So I think that's fun. Or if you like, you could even tie it with a ribbon. That would also be really cute. So now we're going to put this little guy on there. I'm going to put him right there on the flap. You could also put like the birds from Love is in the Air stamp set. That would also be really cute. I'm going to pop him up and I'm going to use foam squares. He's going to put one on his body and then one on his head. I'm going to put him right in the center of the flap. And there we go. So I also need a sentiment. I'm going to put it inside the little flap here. And I'm going to use XOXO. And I need blocks. I need to grab that. And for sentiments, I like to use Versafine. It's really nice. It doesn't like have that weird bubbly look like with Memento. Just really nice and dark, and it comes out really well. But I do gotta do this flat. That did not work. There we go. It's perfect. Put that to the side so I don't stick my hand in it. So here we go. Just gonna put this lid on here really fast. There we go. Like I said earlier, if you could also use the bird stamp set, put one here, like the tree one there, that'd look really cute. But I hope you liked this project, and I will see you later. Bye, everyone.